Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. And on today's episode, we will be looking at Britain's own version of Pompeii, which is extending its run. Originally intended to be a short-term museum run, it was extended by a fortnight. And these are 3,000-year-old Copper Age artifacts dubbed Britain's Pompeii. Ooh, with a name like
Copper
that,
Age.
huh?
I say, yeah, no, Copper Age. Ooh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Copper Age.
I know
Is
it's
that
Bronze Age, I think.
either
I
way,
think there's
still.
Bronze Age later into
The article. Yeah, Bronze
Gold.
Age. I was gonna
Yeah, they
say,
are.
Aaron, come on.
You
They're
said Copper Age, didn't you?
what is this, the Age of the Police?
But these 3,000-year-old artifacts were all discovered at a site that was dubbed Britain's Pompeii because so much of it was preserved in place, and what it was a settlement with a bunch of roundhouses that had caught fire, and a bunch of the people who were leaving left through the local river, and in their place, a bunch of mud basically swallowed up all these artifacts,
Yeah.
perfectly preserving them in place.
Yeah, it is a massive artifact hoard here. They list it out as it's as the largest collection of Bronze Age artifacts ever discovered in the United Kingdom, and it is 200 wooden objects, 150 fiber and textile items, which never survive anything, 128 pottery vessels. That's not shards, that's actual vessels. And 90 pieces of metalwork.
Oh, and it's because the village was built on top of the river and the fire caused it to collapse into the mud,
Squelch.
where they remained until they were excavated 8 years ago. So we talk about the time it takes from it to be discovered to fully investigated to museums. It's a long time frame. But there are a lot of things that don't traditionally survive very long, like wooden objects, fiber and textiles, metal. That stuff doesn't tend to last and it tends to decay. So the fact that they found it intact is honestly very impressive. And the cool thing about this is at the museum that they were housed was less than 8 miles from where they were originally located. And one of
It's
the really
interesting.
great things is this museum has the largest visitorship it's had in over 8 years. This is really bringing a lot of people out to go see what it is.
That's great. I love it. I love it when people get to come out and see this stuff, this kind of thing.
Yeah. I like that it is staying local, that this isn't just another thing that's going to get swallowed up by the British Museum or some other large entity that won't really have a reason to display it after this. I think I think that's a good thing.
Well, it's I'm curious to see what's going to be next for it because they said that it will no longer be on display after the extension, so I'm curious where it's going to go after that. If it'll
Well,
go right back to the archives, or if it'll become a traveling exhibition, or if it will go to a bigger institution who can afford it.
well, it does say that the Peterborough Museum and Art Gallery, where it is on display, is its new permanent home. So it will, the exhibit itself will likely shut down, and either it will travel or it will stay in the museum in a different form, with part of it remaining on display and part of it remaining in storage. Just because I don't believe it is leaving its current museum as its home base. I don't believe that operational title is being taken away.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see though what their next goal is, or if they're going to revitalize the exhibition, or if they're going to change it up, or again retire it. But if it's bringing that many visitors, I have a very hard time seeing them take it away forever. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna revitalize it and maybe make a permanent exhibition hall for it. Would honestly be my best hope and my best guess because it looks like a lot of where it's showing in this image is temporary. I mean, large posters, not really anything on the walls, kind of bland boxes with the details inside of them. So maybe a permanent exhibition, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's five pound to go visit.
Mm-hmm.
So not terribly expensive either to go see something that cool.
Yeah, I just gotta say, like, if we scroll down to like the some of the bottom pictures, like the glass beads and the beadwork is very nice. And look at that eel trap. It's a replica of what they found, but like
I think
eel
you're
trapping.
skipping over the coolest thing where they found fine cups and bowls and a pot with a preserved, freshly cooked meal inside. Like, can you imagine how frustrated the person who had to leave their house with a cooked meal was when they saw everything just collapse and fall away? Like, you put in all that effort, collecting all those vegetables, hunting that meat, putting it together, cooking it, storing it, maybe letting it get a little cooler,
Yeah.
and then a fire erupts and your house falls into the river.
But on the other hand, I have a tube that traps eels. Never in 1,000 years would I have named that as something that exists.
Really?
An
I mean, I've
eel
seen like
trap, just a
fish
tube.
traps.
Look at this thing. It's just a tube that traps eels. I don't know why, but I like that way too much. Like I think of things like rat traps and crab traps and lobster traps and those things where it's either a pit or a box that you know things can fall into and get stuck. But this is a tube.
It's also quite ingenious because it's woven that it also allows for water drainage, so you can just eat that right out of the water in there.
Oh yeah, it does not
Yeah.
register as a proper barrier to the eel because the water flow isn't blocked.
It's maybe a little restricted, but then they also find those areas to feed and nest into regardless. So yeah, it's just kind of cool, and it shows you a more humanistic side of archaeology and history because a lot of times we see the monumental structures that are left, we see the large things that were built. You don't tend to get that well of a view into the everyday life. And I know, speaking as an archaeologist, a lot of what we study and what we ideally want to find shows us the everyday life because it shows us how we became human. It shows us how we became the people that we are today. Like everything is it all comes from the same lineage, so we just have to figure out like how and what people had discovered or known, and it teaches us a lot. So to get a glimpse and a perfect porthole into that time frame, I think is fascinating, especially 3,000 years. Like that's incredible amount of time.
I just want to know what the food was.
Yeah, they don't really tell us. Like I would like a recipe maybe.
Yeah, what was it like?
Steal their meal, you know.
Is it related to the eel tubes?
Oh my god, it's like roasted eel soup.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even
I don't
think you
know.
could eat. I didn't even know people ate eels until like recently.
Oh, see, I knew that they did because it's just an easy form of food. I mean, you stick them on a stick and spin them around a spit, and you're set. Roast eel, anyone?
While in the eel tube,
Yeah.
No, I think
I just
I'd be a little cautious to putting the eel tube over the fire.
Well, no, you take them out of the eel tube and put them on sticks.
Yeah, I know. I just saying. Aaron said, well, in the eel tube. I said,
yeah.
nah.
I,
Eel
I
tube
mean,
near.
if you hang it high enough, you could effectively smoke the eels in their eel tube. But then you would
Yeah,
also
but
get the juices, and I don't know if that would do well with the wicker.
also, I just don't like. I don't like it when my eel has lung cancer.
Yeah, adds to the flavor. And on that weird bombshell, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Let us know if you would also eat eels, and we'll see you in the next video.